Hi guys! So I'm going to take the next few minutes to tell you about a pretty kick-ass group of aviatrices from the Second World War. In October of 1941, Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin signed Order 0099, allowing for the creation of 3 all-female bomber units. Prior to this, women had been barred from serving on the front lines. These units were the 586th, 587th and 588th Night Bomber Regiments. It is this latter group that I wish to tell you about today. Though this was only their official name from 1942 to 1943. Thereafter, they were given the honorific Guards, denoting that they were elite among Soviet forces. They became the 46th Taman Guards Night Bomber Aviation Regiment until the end of the war, officially. However, if you've heard of them, you've likely heard of them by their nom de guerre, the Nachthexen, or Night Witches. Upon the Witches' formation under Major Yevdokia Bershanskaya, the only woman ever to be awarded the Order of Suvorov, there was something of a problem. You see, at the time, the Soviet Union was suffering from what one might call debilitating resource scarcity on account of the multi-thousand-mile-long front on which they were fighting a total war against the Nazis. Consequently, contemporary bombers were not given to new, unproven, untrained units, instead being the preserve of the already established and trained units. The Witches were given Polikarpov Po-2s, also called kukuruzniks, or crop dusters. These were training planes made of wood and canvas from the 1920s. These retrofitted biplanes had a useful load of only 260 kilos, but more critically than that, they were slow, only being able to manage 94 miles an hour in air. This airspeed was less than a quarter of the Luftwaffe's main fighter planes in the region, the Focke-Wulf 190 and the Messerschmitt 109. So, on paper, things look bad for the Night Witches. They seem to be outclassed in funding, training, and equipment. However, they looked at the dreadful seeming hand they'd been dealt, and they saw advantages. One of these advantages arose from what initially looks like a disadvantage: the Polikarpov's low airspeed. With a cruise speed of 68 miles per hour, and a maximum speed of 94 miles per hour, it seems like they are utterly outclassed by the Messerschmitt and the Focke-Wulf, who were each able to go around 400 miles per hour. However, there is an aspect to this which is not immediately obvious: stall speed. The Focke-Wulf and Messerschmitt were both fighters designed to be manoeuvrable at high speed. As a result, at lower speeds, they had trouble generating lift. And as it turns out, the speed necessary for both of these aircraft to generate enough lift to counteract their own weight was higher than the maximum speed of the Polikarpov Po-2. The result? Upon locating a Polikarpov travelling at cruising speed, the Luftwaffe pilot would have a very brief window in which to effectively fire upon the plane from behind before hurtling past it, one presumes, receiving many rude hand gestures from the Night Witch who was piloting it. Having overtaken the Polikarpov, the Luftwaffe pilot would then be forced to double back to be in position behind it again to fire on it. This is a very effective way to waste fuel, which Nazi Germany were not in abundant supply of. This, however, is assuming the Luftwaffe could even locate the Polikarpovs in the first place, as one of the techniques the Night Witches employed was flying at tree level, meaning that they were very difficult to spot at night. Another tactic employed by the Night Witches took advantage of the lightness of their aircraft. They would intentionally stall their engines mid-air in order to glide silently upon their target. It is from this technique that they gained their foreboding epithet, die Nachthexen, the Night Witches, as the whoosh of a Polikarpov almost silently gliding overhead reminded Wehrmacht soldiers of stories they'd heard of witches flying on brooms. Over the course of the war, the Night Witches flew 23,672 sorties and accrued 28,676 flight hours. They dropped over 3,000 tons of bombs and over 26,000 incendiary shells. They destroyed 7 river crossings, 9 railways, 2 railway stations, 26 warehouses, 12 fuel depots, 176 armoured cars, 86 firing points, and 11 searchlights. They also performed 155 supply drops to Soviet forces. For all of this, 26 of them were awarded the title of either Hero of the Soviet Union, Hero of the Russian Federation, and 1 Hero of Kazakhstan. They suffered 32 deaths by crashes, combat, and tuberculosis, and wrote off a total of 28 of their own planes. However, less measurable, but arguably much more important than their destruction of Axis materiel was their effect on Axis morale. Wehrmacht soldiers found the combination of the stealth of their attacks, plus the very fact that their opponents were women in this case, to be highly demoralizing. It is unclear to me whether the Wehrmacht soldiers and pilots found the Night Witch's femininity demoralizing due to their discomfort in fighting women, or their discomfort in losing to women. My supposition is a little of both. But, whatever the reason, Nazi High Command quickly came to view the witches as the scourge of the Eastern Front. So seriously did they take this threat, that downing Night Witch's plane earned a member of the Wehrmacht, soldier or pilot, an automatic Iron Cross. As far as I'm aware, the only other things one could do to earn oneself an automatic Iron Cross were sink 50,000 tons of shipping, destroy 50 tanks, or down a set amount of aircraft, the number of which varied throughout the war. On the 31st of July, 1943, a Luftwaffe pilot named Josef Kotsiok downed 4 Night Witches in a single night. For this, he was awarded the Knight's Cross, that's Knights with a K. This was Nazi Germany's highest military honour. Josef's actions that night resulted in the Night Witches being grounded for the first time. They also earned him his own nom de guerre, Hexenjäger, the Witch Hunter, which he was known as until his death later that year from a mid-air collision over Kerch. Now, I hesitate to start ascribing morals to the story of the Night Witches. However, I think if I had to pick one, it would be that a bad hand well played is much better than a brilliant hand badly played. The Night Witches managed to take some pieces of wood and canvas attached to engines that were passing for planes and make themselves a thorn in the side of arguably the most powerful war machine in the world at the time. But whatever your thoughts on the Night Witches are, I'd love to hear them. Please leave a comment to let me know. Or, as always, feel free to leave a comment telling me how wrong I am, or suggesting another topic for a video you'd like to see in the future. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for more videos like this to come. Also, if you're in the mood to have your socks rocked off, please check out the song Night Witches by Sabaton. It is amazing, and the first place I learned about the 5/8/8. No, I didn't forget to record this and have to add it in last minute. You're crazy. Okay, bye!